In this short video, I'll talk about some of the barriers that we encounter on the way to finding God or on the way to listening and taking action on what God tells you. So, in the last video, I mentioned that finding God and listening to Him and taking action on what He says to you is the direction to a happier, more fulfilled and balanced life. But it is often not easy to actually do, because first of all, we are unaware that God is talking to us. So I want you to be more aware of your thoughts, about your feelings, about what drives you, about what brings you joy. Because as you assess these things, as you are aware of these things, you'll know what direction you should be going that fits you personally. Doesn't necessarily fit anyone else, but it fits you personally, so that you can go in the direction that's meant for you, that you can go in the direction that makes your life better and better all the time. So, I can see that a big obstacle that most people have is basically being unaware of what God is telling them. We are ignorant, actually. We've learned to not listen to God, and we have learned to be unaware of God talking to us all the time. Maybe throughout the day. It doesn't have to be every minute, but it may happen to us several times a day. And it depends oftentimes on what we are doing as well. So if we're working intently and trying to stay focused on a task at work, for instance, we don't, we may be so focused on it that we don't actually think about things that draw us closer to God. But sometimes a thought or feeling, it could be a vision of something, interjects itself in your day while you're doing work. And you should listen to it, because perhaps it's telling you maybe you should go in a particular direction. Whenever God talks with us, He is talking to us in an abstract way. So He generally does not say anything that's direct, like, oh, you should be doing this. You should be going out to meet your friend. Or you should be going out to take a stroll in the park, or be by yourself for a little bit. It can happen, and many people actually have that happen to them, where they actually sense a thought that tells them to do this thing. And you may actually have it. If so, consider heeding it, because it may actually lead you in the right direction that you need to go. It personalizes your day and takes you out of being a robot, like everyone, like what you see out there, like people who basically go through their day on autopilot. But by doing so, you are treating yourself as a human being. You are doing the best for yourself, and you are adjusting yourself to what your body and what your mind needs, not what anyone else needs. So be aware of your thoughts, be aware of your feelings. Perhaps perhaps you want to go somewhere, like I feel like I want to go to that museum or something. It's interesting. It sounds interesting. Your heart is calling you. Perhaps your heart is calling you to do that. It's finding nourishment. That thought can lead you to a place that provides your heart with nourishment. So don't neglect it, don't ignore it. You may even want to jot it down, but don't forget it. Come back to revisit it and don't wait long. Okay? So other obstacles for moving towards listening to God are that it could be other people. It could actually be drugs. It could be, like for instance, drugs will cause one to not be aware of oneself. Like it could be alcohol. Alcohol causes one to be less aware of things so that we are not aware of what God is telling us. Same with other drugs. On top of it, there are always obstacles, like there's going to be pressures around the house, pressures at work, pressures in your social life that draw you away from a spiritual connection, that draw you away from a connection to the intangible. And this connection is going to enrich your life. So don't neglect this intangible connection. You have a physical connection to the people around you. You have a physical connection to work, to your home life. But the most important, in my opinion, is actually that intangible connection, this ephemeral connection to the spirit world and to God. So do not neglect it. I will go into more of this in the near future, I hope. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope this really, truly improves the quality of your life. Thank you.